Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. You have that Zoom session coming up with Dr. Elizabeth Klein
Mm-hmm.
on December 2nd, and it's all about God is love.
All
So
right.
to get ready, we wanted to kind of explore that idea a bit beforehand.
Yeah.
God is love,
Absolutely.
the Trinity,
Right.
and how this all connects to Jesus' teachings.
For sure.
We're using a transcript from a lecture on the topic,
Okay.
and of course that Zoom invite you sent.
Perfect.
So one thing from the lecture really stood out to me.
Oh, yeah.
It said that God is love.
Hmm.
Not just that he's super loving or anything,
Hmm.
but that he as love.
Oh, wow.
And that seems like such a small thing, but it feels
Yeah.
really significant.
It is a huge distinction.
Yeah.
The lecture says that God doesn't just have Reese qualities.
Okay.
He has those qualities like he has love, truth, light,
Oh, wow.
all of those things and more.
Okay.
It's like the difference between saying someone is good at baking
Mm-hmm.
and saying that they are goodness baked into a person. One is a skill. The other is their very essence.
That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
So it's not about focusing on the loving things that God does,
Yeah.
but love is like at the core of who he is.
Exactly.
Right.
You got it.
Does that make sense?
It totally does. And the lecture connects this to the Trinity,
Okay.
which can be
Yeah.
a pretty mind-bending concept.
Yeah, the Trinity,
Yeah.
I have to admit, it's always been a bit of a mystery to me.
Yeah, I get that.
But the lecture uses Augustine's analogy to explain it.
Okay.
And it's pretty mind-blowing. Augustine compares the Trinity to love itself.
Huh.
So you have the lover, the beloved, and the love between them.
That's a good one.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a great analogy because it gives us something
Yeah.
concrete to hold on to
Right.
when we're trying to grasp this idea of the Trinity.
For sure. For sure.
It's like, imagine a parent loving a child.
Mm.
The parent is the lover.
Okay.
The child is the beloved.
Okay.
And that love flowing between them
Yeah.
is love itself. You can't have one without the others.
That's true.
It's like this perfect triangle of love.
Yes. And just as that Trinity is considered to be perfect and complete,
Okay.
so is the love between the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all of this fits together now.
Good.
So we have God as the source of love.
Yes.
And this idea of love is expressed perfectly within the Trinity.
That's it.
But where does Jesus fit into all of this?
Oh, that's where things get even more interesting.
Oh, really?
The lecture points out how the Old Testament hints at God wanting this deep connection with his people,
Okay.
even using the imagery of marriage.
Oh, wow.
And then in the New Testament, especially in John's Gospel,
Oh, okay.
Jesus is revealed as the bridegroom.
Wait, Jesus is the bridegroom.
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way.
It might seem surprising at first,
Yeah.
but it's a powerful image that shows the depth of God's love for us.
Okay.
And this is actually something that Dr. Klein explores a lot in her work.
Oh, that's interesting.
She's really gifted at helping people to understand this deeply personal nature of God's love.
That's awesome. I can't wait to hear what she has to say about that.
Me too. Yeah, it is surprising. And the lecture draws this parallel between the wedding at Cana, where Jesus performs that first miracle,
Oh, yeah, right.
and then the crucifixion.
Both events have wine. That's interesting. What's the deeper connection there?
Well, the wine at Cana points to something much deeper,
Okay.
The wine symbolizes Jesus's blood,
Wow.
his ultimate act of love.
Oh, wow.
And both events, in their own way,
Yeah.
show us God's power
Okay.
to transform lives. Just
Yeah.
like the water was changed into wine at Cana,
Right.
we are transformed through Christ's sacrifice on the cross.
Wow. I never thought about it like that. That's amazing.
Yeah,
And the lecture also mentioned that the miracle at Cana was only seen by a few people.
that's right.
It's kind of like how we often view the
Well,
cross
I know.
as the symbol of defeat
Yeah,
when it's actually the ultimate victory of love.
exactly. And that hiddenness is really important.
Yeah.
It encourages us to look beyond what we see,
Okay.
on the surface,
Mm-hmm.
and to recognize that God's love is always working,
That's the point.
even in those ordinary or seemingly hidden moments of our lives.
I like that. It makes God's love feel a lot more
Yeah,
accessible.
absolutely.
The lecture quotes Dorothy Day,
Okay.
the Catholic activist who often prayed, "They have no wine."
Oh, yeah.
Such a powerful prayer,
Yeah,
especially when you think about the needs of the people around us.
absolutely. It speaks to both those physical and spiritual needs
Mhm.
that people experience.
Yeah.
It challenges us to see those needs,
Okay.
to recognize where love is lacking,
Right.
and to respond with compassion and action.
That's good. It reminds me of that saying, love is a verb.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not just a feeling.
Right.
It's something we do.
Love in action, not just words.
Absolutely.
The lecture also says that true love isn't always, warm and fuzzy. And it compares love to labor pains.
It does.
Wow, that's a really
It is intense.
intense image.
But it's also a powerful way to
Yeah.
understand that genuine love requires sacrifice.
Okay.
It might involve suffering. It's not always easy or comfortable.
Yeah?
Think about Jesus washing the disciples' feet.
Right.
It was a humble act of service.
Yeah.
It wasn't about making him feel good.
Right.
It was about embodying love
Okay.
in a really selfless way.
So what does all this mean for us in our
Yeah.
daily lives?
That's the question, isn't it? If the ultimate act of love happened in a hidden way, how might God be working through the small events of our own lives? How can we show God's love
Yeah.
in our hidden deaths?
Okay.
Those daily struggles and tasks
Yeah.
that may seem mundane,
Right. That's something I'll be thinking about before that Zoom session.
That's great.
It's like a whole new lens to look at my life through.
It is.
I can't wait.
Yeah, me too.
It sounds like Dr. Klein's going to help us see that all these ancient stories and theological concepts,
Yeah,
they're not just things to believe in, but
right.
like a way to live.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about her work.
Yeah.
She doesn't shy away from the hard parts of faith,
Right.
but she always brings it back to how these truths can transform us.
So it's not just about,
Yeah.
head knowledge,
Yeah.
but letting that love shape
Yeah.
how we live,
Yeah.
how we interact with the world.
Exactly. The lecture even says that.
Okay.
The Trinity.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not just an abstract puzzle to solve,
Right.
but about understanding that God is love at his core.
And through Christ, that love becomes,
Yes.
real and personal and
Yeah.
powerful enough to change us.
Absolutely. We see that love in his miracles.
Mhm.
We hear it in his teachings.
Yeah.
And we experience it most fully
Right.
in his sacrifice on the cross.
It's like we're called to not just believe in God,
Right.
but to actually become love
Yeah.
in the world.
In a way, yes. And that might seem like a big task.
Right.
But it's also really freeing.
Okay.
Because even the small acts of kindness,
Yeah.
compassion,
Mhm.
putting others before ourselves,
Right.
all become ways of participating in God's love.
So it's not about, grand gestures or anything,
Right.
but just like the choices we make,
Exactly.
the way we treat people,
Mhm.
the love we show.
Yes.
And that brings us back to your upcoming Zoom session.
Right.
It's going to be a great way to explore all of this.
Absolutely. Dr. Klein is amazing at unpacking all these complex ideas
Mhm.
and making them real for us.
It's like a masterclass in love,
I love that.
taught by someone who embodies it.
As you prepare for the session, I encourage you to think about everything we've discussed.
Okay.
How has God's love shown up in your life?
Yeah.
How might you share that love more fully with others?
Wow. This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
I'm so inspired to keep exploring this whole idea of God is love. And I'm really looking forward to Dr. Klein's session now.
I think it's going to be really powerful.
This is an ongoing conversation,
It is.
and we want to explore it with you. So please share your thoughts after the Zoom session.
Yes.
Let us know what resonated with you, what you learned.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep diving deeper together.
Sounds good.
That's all for this deep dive. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those hearts open to the incredible power of love.
The Zoom session for Episode 8 on God is Love by Dr. Elizabeth Klein will be held on Monday, December 2nd, 2024 at 8 p.m.